Sorry.
Okay. Basically, anytime that basically you start looking at this stuff now from a different aspect, okay, before it never made any sense to me about the Secretary of the Treasury down in Puerto Rico. It just never added up until basically going back through and looking at these things from a different aspect. And then from the scenario that basically how they've set this all up, then you can start seeing some of this stuff out here. They had to take it offshore. Okay, that's why you're out at sea, because you're offshore. That's what that one judge tried to tell Bill, is that basically in the Court of Claims, you're still out at sea.
Right.
You haven't come ashore. Now, the key point out here was that basically Philadelphia was the prime entry point for all aliens coming into this country. For all Christian aliens or whatever, okay? That was the key port, was Philadelphia. Philadelphia was also the home port of the United States of America Post Office. The Philadelphia is also the East Coast, or the Eastern depository account, or depository, Treasury depository, is Philadelphia. They can't have the Treasury sitting in Washington, D.C. That is just a seat of government. That is not in the de jure side whatsoever. That is totally in the fictional side. You have to start thinking about this in the fictional and in the real life. Now, basically, the United States Corporation or company, the 1871 company, went bankrupt in 1933, and they put everybody's certificate of live birth up as collateral when they funded it out of the Treasury, because it was the people's Treasury, so they had to break it down and give so much to everybody so that they could have assets there to be utilized as collateral for the bankruptcy. Well, they had to have a neutral country in the process to be the trustee between the United States as the debtor and the creditor. And the main creditor was the Church of Rome. They had Civil War debts all the way back to the Civil War time, still on the books as debts that were owed to them. And where would that place be? Cuba. The church controlled Cuba also. And basically, the head guy before Castro came in and ran him out was Batista, and he was a Jesuit. So that is where basically our accounts were essentially held as collateral, okay? The paper held as collateral there. Now, when Castro came in, basically now Cuba became an enemy to the United States. Now all the Cuban accounts fell under the alien property custodian. either under the Attorney General's office or the Treasury office, depending on how you want to look at it in the scenario. But Cuba was not the trustee. The Vicar General of Cuba, or the Cardinal of Cuba, was the trustee for the Church of Rome. Now, the trustee, now that Cuba has been displaced and placed, those accounts have been placed under the alien property custodian, is the Vicar General or the Cardinal or Archbishop of New York in the financial district. That's where the trustee for the certificate of live birth is. Not the baptismal certificate. That baptismal certificate is something entirely different. The baptismal certificate is an affidavit of life, because you cannot baptize the dead. That is well documented in history about baptism. You can't baptize the dead. Once they're dead, they're dead. A baptism isn't going to do anything for them. So a baptism is for the living. So it's proof that you are alive and you are not a fiction. That's what the baptismal certificate stands for. It's an affidavit of life. Okay? They can't give it to a fiction. So we've got two trustees we've got out here that you can address on your 1099-As and for some of your bills and processing. One is the Vicar Generals in the Roman Catholic Church. But basically, they're not the Roman Catholic Church. They are basically the Church of Rome. The Roman Empire hidden trustees. Mercantile law trustees for the Roman Empire. And then you have the Secretary of the Treasury in Puerto Rico over the Social Security account, and the Social Security account covers all accounts that are attached to the Social Security number. Driver's license, mortgages, your voter registration card, your certificate of title to your vehicle. All these different documents, your DD-214 that has the Social Security number on it, or has been attached to it by way of the VA, the Veterans Administration. And they're all being operated under identity theft because they stole your identity to create a corporate fiction for their benefit, more so than for our benefit. When you stop and think about these things, then it starts to make sense in what's going on here. We still have to go to Philadelphia because that was where 90% of all immigrants coming into this country basically came in through. Not New York, through Ellis Island, okay? That was totally after the fact. The vast majority of the immigrants came into this country through Philadelphia. There was a few that came in through Boston, or a few that came in through South Carolina, and a few that came in through California. and a few came across Mexico. But most of those Mexicans that are coming across, they have every right to travel across because they're North American citizens. It's only the corporations that have tried to put a stop to these things. And then all the people in this country don't have a damn idea about reading the real laws or the Constitution out here. Who's ever asked a congressman, how can you be running for a second term? It's right here in the Constitution. It says you can't do it. You have to sit out one term. You can't be an inhabitant. And there's a big difference between being an inhabitant and basically being a resident. An inhabitant is an office holder. A resident is one who has a dwelling. So, in your package, we're going to have to also, if you've got a baptismal certificate, you put that along with your affidavit of who you are. Because that is also a living affidavit of you are alive. Because they can't give a baptism to a dead person or a fiction. That's what, when I went to the Vicar Generals and everything, I was trying to use that as a claiming document, but I was using it in the wrong form as a claiming document. We had to use the certificate of live birth with the Vicar Generals and then put our request in, because they're the trustees, to release the collateral that's being held. The collateral was supposed to be released back to us at the age of 21. Not by the courts, but by the trustee. So you placed the Vicar General also on notification. You placed the Secretary of the Treasury on notification when you send your package into Philadelphia. I sent Tom an update on the insurance document. There's a couple key things that I changed. The title itself, the first two lines. Look that over. Then basically the jurisdiction notice, I changed that around. Then I came down into the second paragraph after the Federal Reserve Bank for the release and settlement of my deposited, and I put banked credits by way of the Treasury Department and the U.S. Alien Property Custodian.
Which document was that, Patrick?
That is the insurance liability, the bank insured liability letter of credit.
Okay, got it right here.
And I put it Rev 1 up there.
Right, okay.
I'm sorry I haven't got these discs or these items that I had promised to get out, but basically trying to put this package together. I didn't want to send these out until I had the package pretty much groomed the way I wanted it, because there's going to be a few documents for the people that basically I owe a stick file too. I'm trying to put these up as I come across them and get them straightened out in the process. We've heard for years, basically, that a woman or several women or a couple people went to the church, to the vicar generals in the diocese they are, and basically had their bills set off. That's why you can see now, after I went through the scenario about Cuba and everything in the Church of Rome, and several people have gone directly to the Church of Rome and had release of their assets, but they never told us everything that they had to do. And then again, they didn't get everything totally released because they still had to get back with the Treasury to basically get the thing properly processed. They might have gotten a letter saying that they released it, but then you'd have to take that letter over to the Treasury, to the Federal Reserve Bank, and the fiscal agent there in Philadelphia under the Credit and Risk Department. The discount window at the Federal Reserve Bank on the 7th floor in Philadelphia. I yet to finish up the 1099As to have them properly addressed. All of our fictional persons, okay, as on that index that I posted, you will see that in all their documents, they ask for last name first. That's how they handle the accounts. It's by last name first, because you have to go to the family plot to find the coffin to dig up. Then you look for Tom or Joe or Sam or Lucy in that family plot. These things are not that complicated when you really sit down and think about it. But basically, you have to go back and just use a little common sense in the process. We've been so inundated with every other piece of garbage out here, leaning in the wrong direction. Just like two football teams. You get the player on the other side of the field to lean the wrong direction, and you can push them right over. And that's what they've been doing to us. They've got us leaning in the wrong direction, and they pushed us right over and ran right over us. And they've been doing that all along. You have to get in your perfect three-point stance in defense and on offense, so that you cannot be toppled and you start toppling them. It's all a game. And I used that scenario probably about 5 or 6 years ago, too. So a lot of this stuff that I'm saying now basically is a reiteration of stuff that I said in the past. It's just condensing it down and putting it onto the playing board in the proper position that it's supposed to be in. Now, I expect you people to start opening your mouth and start asking questions or putting valid comments in.
Hello, this is Feline speaking.
And when you do want to put a question out. Speak up. I hate wimps. Now, I'll open it up to questions.
Patrick, I've got some very simple ones. I've just gone through operating circular 10 in the form, and I guess on the letter of agreement, the full legal name of the borrower is our Thomas J. Weiser Private Bank Estate and Trust, and the name would be my name, and the title would be Private Individual Banker. Is that right? And CFO.
For which document are you looking at?
The Federal Reserve form of letter and of agreement, Appendix 3.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't gotten back into those documents lately. Okay.
Okay. And I'll save that for later.
Yeah, just whatever you feel you want to put in there, but basically you got to have the understanding, and basically then you're going to have to address in that letter the two trustees in the process, the trustee for the certificate of live birth and the trustee for all others under the auspices of the Social Security number.
Okay, so that was.
And then you have to have your affidavit, your identity theft documents, okay, in process there. And one of the key things you would want to put in with your affidavit is basically a copy of your baptismal certificate, because that is an affidavit of life.
Yes.
And it's signed by a legislator.
Right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, I have been trying to get my baptismal certificate, but I do have my confirmation, a certified copy of my confirmation with that too as well.
Well, if you've got a confirmation, you should be able to get your baptismal certificate. Do you know which church you went to?
But it seems. Yes, I do, and unfortunately, it has burned down.
Okay, try going to the diocese. They should have it on there. Try and get a copy of that from the diocese.
Okay.
Say, I want a confirmation of my baptism document in the church.
Okay.
Yeah, you always go up to the next higher level.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And if you decide to join another church and be baptized in that, would that do as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, this is supposed to be a Christian country, so everybody is really essentially supposed to be baptized.
Exactly. And actually, if you're a minister, that should all take care of all of that, correct?
Well, he would give you the certificate that you were baptized, yeah. And see, they can't baptize the dead. That was one of the key things. I can't remember which king basically tried to recant, or no, it was back in the Roman times. One of the Caesars or something. Basically, he was on his deathbed, and he wanted to be baptized. Well, he died before they were able to baptize him. I mean, some of these things are well documented if you go back and study history.
Okay. Today, a minister in an unincorporated free church, is that not the equivalent to being rising
if
from
he
the dead?
is saying you were baptized and you are alive.
Okay.
Because they can't baptize somebody that's dead. Right. So he's doing an attestation that you are alive.
Gotcha.
It's an affidavit of your being alive. That's what the baptismal certificate is. It's saying you're not dead. And that's what we've been trying to get out here, is the documentation that makes a separation between us and the dead fictions, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah, well, it's the baptismal certificate. Everybody's been looking at it from the wrong aspect.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just got to thinking about that tonight about an hour before the call, and I said, holy shit. That's what the baptismal certificate's all about. Because you cannot baptize the dead.
Right, it's our proof.
And this was supposed to be a Christian country, and therefore everybody was supposed to have a baptismal certificate. It doesn't make any difference what church it came from.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a confirmation that you were alive.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and then when you put your identity theft document in there, in the form of the affidavit of who you are, under your attestation, and your signature is just your first name, first and middle name. You type out your family name. Family of.
Very good to know. Okay.
Yeah, look at the document that I put up there for that identity theft. You have to think these things through, and then you'll start seeing what's coming about. And you can go to, if you want to put more forms in there, the identity theft form for the IRS is the 1430039 form. The Treasury identity certificate of identity is the SAV 385 form. And you don't have to get it notarized either, because you're the one that's doing the document.
So right, so we're just doing our fingerprint
on the Word document.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the statement, okay, document. But on the form itself, you don't need to put your fingerprint there. But if you want to, go ahead, okay?
Okay.
It's your choice. You have free will. No, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm only giving you guidelines. After that, it's up to you. Because I don't control your will. It's your will, and my will be done scenario.
Indeed.
You've got to that's the problem with this whole damn country. Nobody has taken on the responsibilities that they were supposed to take upon themselves. The government got everybody to lean on all this damn insurance bullshit.
True.
Insurance it's an impossibility. You're going to lose in the long run. I don't know how many times I've heard people say that, if I would have saved up all the premiums that I paid in insurance, I would have had a mansion when I got ready to retire. I could have bought a new car 10 times over. The people in the 1800s, no. Insurance, no.
Right.
That was an abomination.
Bill Smith and Lawrence Singleton.
But yet, so many people out here have made a living off of it and everything else, not knowing what the shit they're doing. And all the judges and everything else, they don't even know what they're doing. In all their court actions, they're insurance adjusters. Assurance adjusters, but really, it's assurance and insurance is basically the same scenario. You are the source of all the funding in this country. You're the owner of this country, not the government. The government is a fiction. And then it's a totally fraudulent fiction because most all of them have violated the Constitution. Even to the fact of having a Hillary running for president. And any man that votes for her basically ought to be lined up and shot on the spot, voting for a Bull Dyke. That's all she really is. She really isn't even a female. And she definitely ain't a male. Okay, anybody else have any questions, comments, rebuttals?
I just had a small one, Patrick, in the true identity statement in the last paragraph. It's really the word by our own free wills in the middle of it, but you start, it's basically the singular. I am living undersigned being and do by our own free wills. That I didn't get what are we doing the free wills of our friction?
You change it out and you take the secondary people off of there. You're not going to have two witnesses. So you got to reword it to you as the individual are making this affidavit.
Okay, got it. Thank you. I thought that's what it was, but I wanted to check.
Now, I thought I corrected all on the last document I sent to you about that.
Oh, there are some little errors, but they were easy to catch.
Yeah, see, that's where you got to get your mindset in. What is going on here? I took the two people off, so now I'm talking about the individual, me, my document.
Right. Okay.
So then everything has to correlate to that.
Right. So I just have to make the numbers.
You guys went to English class too.
Sure.
I flunked most of mine. So cut me a little slack.
That's okay. On Operating Circular 10, let's see which form is it. The authorization list. We're supposed to have a secretary's certification. Can we be our own secretary?
No. You can get that one notarized.
Okay. Yes, there is a notary on the right side. Got it.
But you don't use that form that's in there.
Ah. You had another
That's what I tried to explain one or two calls ago, okay? The form that's in Appendix 3 of Operating Circular number 10. You do not use the authorization list.
Okay.
That is the SC authorization list. S, the letter S, and the letter C document. And that goes to all the other Federal Reserve banks except for in St. Louis. St. Louis, you don't need to send an authorization list into them because you're going to go in under electronic filings in there if you go into the St. Louis Federal Reserve Bank.
We're just going into Philadelphia, or do
You're
we go
going into Philadelphia, and basically that you will use the 03 authorization list.
Okay, I got that.
And
one.
I had you post that up about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I see that. And we're no longer going to our local Federal Reserve, just Philadelphia.
Just Philadelphia right now, okay?
Okay, thank you.
That's where, if you want to close down your account. Now, if you don't want to close down your account and you're scared shitless that basically they're going to come and throw you in fucking jail, then please leave, okay? Because you will never do this, okay? We haven't got time to basically justify this to you people. If you don't want to get out here and fight for what is yours, then get out. We don't need you dragging the damn Skype groups and everything else down. We want people out here that are going to try and work and make this thing function. Now, I'm sorry if I've hurt some of you people's feelings, but that's the truth. You're no damn good to us.
Patrick,
Yes.
yesterday I sent in my 1099A form to pay off a credit card. I only owed about $250, but I wanted to try this, and I'm not sure I filled it out right. I am the lender. I mean, Discover is the lender, and so then I put their ID number in there, and I put my Social Security without dashes, and then I put borrower, me, and then I put balance of principal outstanding. I put in for $2,000 extra as credit, but I didn't put a minus sign there.
You don't on the 1099A.
Okay.
The 1099A, basically you have positives on it, okay? You're borrowing debt, and then you're going to, with your instrument, your paying instrument, okay, the endorsement on the back of that bill, that is where, on the endorsement, that's where you would put down the credits, okay? So you would basically, you're doing the set-off for the bill with the 1099A. So you don't use the extra funds there, the extra credits. You would put the extra credits in negative on to the endorsement.
Oh, well, I put negative in the extra amount, the $2,500. I did put that on the endorsement side.
Did you do it on the 1099A also?
No.
Okay.
I sent a cover letter.
Yeah. Well, see how it comes out, okay?
Okay. I didn't know if I did it totally wrong.
No, basically, that's the thing. We've got to hammer these people and then basically get the feedback when something does get through. And see, when we get so damn close, it's like in horseshoes, okay? You don't have to have a ringer to win the game. You can be close.
I just
so like in in horseshoes and hand grenades, the same thing. You don't have to be hit with the hand grenade, but basically it's close enough to you and it will kill you.
Okay.
And that's all we have to do is get these things close enough to them to kill them.
And now about the baptism. I don't have a baptismal record. So I need to send to the church where I was baptized because I had no record.
Yeah, you're going to have to get a copy of it. Because you want to show proof when you go to the Church of Rome trustee and also when you go to Philadelphia, you'll put that in the package that basically this is your proof of document that you are alive.
Okay.
Yeah. See, that was one of the key things. I knew that baptism had to come into play in a very valuable position. This is following right in the footpath of Jesus Christ. He showed us the way and the path. It was all about the documentation that he had to do. See, this isn't brand new stuff. Hell, this was way back in Job's time, and basically even back in Abraham's time, before Egypt. The first Babylon, all this stuff. Basically, it's all about banking. And then proof of who you are.
I'm a little confused on what all it is we're supposed to send to Puerto Rico.
When you send something into Puerto Rico, okay, you would do the 1099-A, okay, like for taxes or something like that, okay? Or if you have a bill, you can turn around and put down Puerto Rico, okay, your fictional person's last name first, care of Secretary of Treasury, San Juan, Puerto Rico. I've got the mailing address up there on one of the documents.
Yes, I see that.
That is the lender, okay? They're going to be the lender. And then you're going to be the borrower. So if you want to borrow money from your Social Security account and have it deposited into your account, and you can turn around and give them the wire instructions to put it onto a debit card or credit card, whatever you got, or put it into a bank account, bring it offshore. You're just bringing an offshore banking account onshore. And you do it by the 1099-A. Now, if they do not comply, then the IRS will step in and go and get it for you. See, the IRS is also located down in Puerto Rico.
Would I use my banker's EIN?
No. You would essentially use your state EIN. You're going after the assurances that basically they owe you, the credits. So you'd want to use and you're over the dead Social Security person. So you would be coming in, you're basically now the trustee or the executor over that dead Social Security person. But this is your fiction now. You created the estate EIN person. And you created the estate EIN person under the name of first name, middle name, last name. The creation date. Look at the forms that they have you fill out. What do they always have? Last name first. Driver's license. Which name is first? The last name. Military forms. Last name first. See, that's their creation. They can create a dead entity.
So on the 1099-A, I would be Wadler Thomas, care of Puerto Rico, Secretary of State.
Care of the Secretary of the Treasury,
right.
San Juan, Puerto Rico.
And
the mailing address, and then San Juan, Puerto Rico, and then their phone number.
Right.
I posted that to you.
Yeah, I got all that. And then we don't need just a 1099-A. We don't need a supporting document like endorsement on a certificate of live birth or Social Security card?
You could basically take a copy of your Social Security card and basically also put an instrument in there as a withdrawal, a check withdrawal to withdraw credits.
Okay, will do. Got it. Thank you.
It's been a while since I've been on the call. So when did Puerto Rico come back into the fold? I'm just getting acclimated again.
When I started looking at this from a different aspect, from the truth, basically that, hey, the Secretary of the Treasury, and basically it's in a lot of the codes and everything, is that basically the Secretary of Treasury they're talking about is not the Secretary of Treasury in Washington, D.C. It calls it out in several of the documents that it is the Secretary in San Juan, Puerto Rico. It used to be, initially, it was over in Cuba. The bankers were located in Cuba, not in Puerto Rico.
So
we watch some of the old movies about the ongoing actions. Hell, you can go to the Godfather movie and see some of this stuff.
Yeah.
About what was taking place down there in Puerto Rico.
Nice.
So Castro was throwing out the bankers, not the Las Vegas gamblers.
He was throwing out both of them because basically gambling is banking.
Right.
Right.
It's mob action.
Right. The whole mob, then, not just part of it.
Yeah. You got the church mob, the Opus Dei, and you got all these other organizations in the process. They're all different bankers. Pirates. They're all pirates of the Caribbean.
Right. No wonder they're pissed at him, at Castro.
But see, they couldn't bring the Social Security back into the country. They could basically put the alien property custodian over the certificates of live birth, the credit, or letters of credit that were being held for the bankruptcy of the United States. They could put them under the Office of Alien Property Custodian, but they couldn't put the Social Security account under there. So they moved that off to make it work over to San Juan, Puerto Rico, after Castro took over.
Right.
And then look at the time frame of when the Puerto Rico and everything else started to become territorial in the territorial jurisdictions of the United States corporation.
So do we have to? So I heard you speak on a document that is an attestation. Is that something that we need to send to Puerto Rico as well?
You can send it down there, but basically it's going to be in the package that you're going to send to Philadelphia, to the Federal Reserve Bank, and to the Treasury, and to the post office in Philadelphia.
All right.
See, the certificate of live birth, look at that, if you've got one. Right. What does it say on there? It says bank note. And in some cases, it says American bank note. Well, lo and behold, who prints the stamps? The American Banknote Company. They print all instruments. The mints out here for the Treasury only print or make up the coins. They don't do the paper instruments. The post office is the one that creates the paper. We have to go to the post office, and the de jure post office is out of Philadelphia. That's where Benjamin Franklin was at. He was the first postmaster general.
Yeah.
He can't be located in the fictional territorial. He has to be located upon firm American soil. And Washington, D.C. is not firm American soil.
That's right. I saw in a document per the Treasury of Puerto Rico that there was an extension. There was a number with an extension. Is there going to be any reason for us to contact that individual?
Well, that contact person, basically, you can put him down as a reference, okay, for anybody that needs to. And the one person that I got that from, she was trying to buy a car, and she had to find a contact person for the car dealership to call down there in Puerto Rico to confirm that the money was there.
Wow.
The credits were there, not money, okay? It's credits.
Nice.
It's all about credits and debits. And see, in their world, credits are negative. Debts are positive. That's where we've been messing up all along, too.
Right. Negative accounting. Yeah.
Yeah.
That.
Now, in the real world, credits are positive. In the real world, credits are positive and debt is negative. But in the fictional world, it's the mirror image.
Right.
The other side of the looking glass.
Patrick, you've got a 3949A form out there. When will we be using that? I do like the fact that you accuse them of everything except narcotics trafficking.
Well, that's the thing, okay? You use it when you need to use it.
Okay.
When you start putting this stuff in, your affidavits, you're estoppel by deeds, okay? Just like in the movie Jupiter Ascending. To get her title, she had to get the proper tax identification number. The proper tax identification number we needed to have out here was we had to have our individual banker's EIN number because we had to be banked upon the shores of America. That estate EIN and that foreign grantor trust are not banked upon the land. Until we put our bank in place, then we can put those two accounts under the jurisdiction of our bank.
Okay.
But see, you had to be born on the land. That means you are banked on the land. Now you have to get your title, just like in Jupiter Ascending, she had to get her tax identification number to get her title. You had to get your individual banker so that you could have your private bank. And your private bank is on the shores of America, not out at sea.
Okay.
See, that's what that one judge in the Court of Claims, even though the guy that was doing it, he was referencing his EIN for the estate and for the foreign grantor trust, but the judge came back and said, you're still out at sea. Because he didn't have his individual banker's EIN and attached to his private bank on the banks of America.
Okay.
On the land. He was still out there like Kevin Costner in Waterworks, or whatever it was. That one movie to where they were all floating around out there in the middle of the water, and finally they found land. Some of his movies are very powerful in their meanings, too. Especially the one about the postman. And see, you have to have your post, your bank. That is your post. And basically, in the history of this country, all trading posts were basically the banks for the people in that area.
Hmm.
In a lot of cases, they were just bartering banks. The people would put their credits up on deposit and then basically come in and use them to buy supplies later on. The fur traders and everything else. When they brought their furs in, they didn't get it all paid out in gold. They put some of it on deposit because they might have a bad year the next year. But they still needed to have supplies. So basically they came in and they already had the supplies waiting there for them if you had basically an honest trader. The dishonest ones didn't last too long when the trappers came in from the field. It was only when the bankers came in and then the damn government and the sheriffs and everything else were bought and paid, and then basically the people didn't have any protection against the bankers because the law was protecting the bankers, the crooks. That plays out in Wyatt Earp down there in Tucson. The OK Corral scenario. Bits and pieces of this scenario all throughout the movies. Because that's what life's all about. It's all being played out over and over again in the movies.
Yep.
They're not writing new stories. They're just using the same stories under a different scenario. But it's the same MO. And that's why it's very surprising and very discouraging that more people in this country haven't woken up to that fact. It's almost like you sit there and you pray that basically something drastic will come in and annihilate 99% of the people because they're out here as blooming idiots. They don't want to learn. They're just walking around zombies, feeding the vampires and not knowing it.
Patrick, on the 3949A, down under 5C, it says, do you consider the taxpayer dangerous? And you have checked yes.
Oh, yeah.
What? Why are we considered dangerous?
No, that's not us. That is them, the courts. You're going to be filing this in against the other parties. You're filling this form out as a reporting form that they are not paying the taxes, that they are not doing the proper thing. That's why I had that 3949A. We're not filing it on ourselves.
Okay, I see.
Okay?
I see.
The court.
Anybody else have anything? Now, in some cases, you can go out and get an EIN coming in against the Church of Rome.
Huh.
Yeah, I have an EIN that basically I'm coming in as Patrick Divide, a postmaster with the Church of Rome.
You're a postmaster on your own, or you're a postmaster with the Church of Rome?
I'm a postmaster with the Church of Rome.
Okay.
I set up a Patrick Divine postmaster with the Church of Rome.
Wow. Okay.
See, in a sense, and then I fill out the rest of the paperwork that I need, and I basically boot the trustee out, and now I take over the trusteeship over that certificate of live birth that they're utilizing, and I can collapse it now and send it back over to the Treasury.
Ah, get it.
Yeah, I don't need them.
Okay.
That's
Well,
what some cases doing the UCC 1, if you do it properly, and it's not as easy as everybody thinks it is, okay? And we've done a lot of these UCCs once, and we did them wrong. We did them enough to scare the hell out of some people in some cases, but they were still not fully filled out right. Just like our 1099As were never filled out properly right. Because we, as our creation, is the borrower from the government creation, who is the lender, who is holding our assets, our credits, and everything right now, until we totally move them out away from them by going in under Chapter 17 of that operating procedure number 10, and with our estate EIN and our foreign grantor trust EIN, with our 1099As, and collapse the whole item. Collapse the United States I can't even think what the hell it was. Fidelity and guarantee companies' accounts. The Fidelity side is the letter of credit, the signature you gave, and that is under the jurisdictional control of your foreign grantor trust, EIN. The guarantee side is basically all of the assurances that they've written bonds out there from that letter of credit or that collateral, using it as collateral, and the assurances are the credits that you are owed as rent for the usage of that letter of credit or that collateral. And that falls in under the estate EIN. You need to have a two-prong attack. And then your individual banker is the fiduciary over both of those accounts. He is the sponsor that is sitting on the dock there in Philadelphia to bring your assets off of the foreign grantor trust ship and the estate ship onto shore. You're bringing them in from sea. And you have to have a sponsor on the pier. Then the sponsor takes it and deposits it into your bank, your private bank. But even when the immigrants came into this country, most all of them needed to have a sponsor there at the pier to welcome them onto the shore of America. Sometimes it was just a government official was the sponsor. Sometimes it was relatives that had paid for their travel across the ocean to come here. But they have to have a sponsor on the pier, a warehouse, or a, I don't know. You can go through a bunch of different scenarios about what you want to put the terminology there. I like sponsor.
Okay, I have a question. Just
Okay,
to be
speak
clear.
up.
Okay. For contacting Puerto Rico, is that just for bills and or letters of credit, and then we're sending everything else to Philadelphia?
Everything through Puerto Rico is tied to the Social Security number. Okay?
Okay.
So if you have a credit card, if you have a utility bill, you have a driver's license, a traffic ticket, you have a mortgage, those are all tied to the Social Security number, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Okay? Then that's where that's got to go.
Okay.
Until basically you shut everything down, and then basically when you're shutting everything down, you go to Philadelphia.
With the estoppel.
With all of those instruments that I basically put up there, and now a few more. With that index that I had Tom post the other day.
Okay, I do have the index. Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the other documents need to be put in there is a copy of your baptismal certificate. And to go along with your package for your affidavit for your identity package.
Okay. And also, we are not using our last name at all on the other documents, other than to type it out.
It all depends on who you're making the last name for.
Gotcha.
You're a state EIN person. You're fictional persons. You're putting down, like in my case, Patrick Devine.
Mm-hmm.
First name, last name. But it's not a first name, it's a whole name. Okay?
Okay.
That's all I'm giving. It's a whole name. Now, their scenario that they're operating under is basically, and when you look at all the forms that they fill out and everything, driver's license and everything else, they always operate as last name first.
Yes.
So that means they're going to the cemetery. Because it's a dead. Every license, every certificate that's out there is really a dead fiction. It's set in granite. You've got a tombstone name. And it doesn't make any difference whether it's all capital or whether it's capital first letter or whether it's all small letters. It is how the name is utilized. If it's last name on their forms and then first and middle name, then basically, and they use birth date in their scenario, and see birth date, basically that is your date of separation from your mother and abandonment of your birth sac. Your birth sac was your life support system while you were in your mother's hopper. Now, you have to have a life support now out in the real world. And they took our life support away from us. And put it into that birth sac and buried it. We were supposed to be the royalty of the land because we came from the land. The land is the sovereignty. So we are the sovereign. We, as the people, are the sovereignty, the byproduct of the land. The corporations, they're just words. They're just pieces of paper.
Yeah.
Now, play that old game of scissors, paper, and rock. Now you can see why paper can outdo a rock. I was watching one movie about that. Duchess. Let me see. What the hell? Comedy, or sort of cop comedy, somewhat scenario. This one cop and the Duchess. The Duchess was the dog, okay? But in there, these other two nitwit cops there, they're playing that damn game of paper and rock. And basically, paper always wins out over rock. And see, that's what they're doing in court. Paper will win out against you unless you know what you're doing. You got to come in with the scissors and cut it up.
Yeah.
These games and everything, they're out here for a reason, to try and help educate us. That people are too damn smart. Oh, that's just bullshit. That's kids' games. That's everything but the truth. I know better. The biggest downfall in this whole damn country is all these nitwits' egos that they have. And then they try and blame you as you're the one that has the ego. You're the one that's after money. I'm not after the money. I'm after basically taking the control away from them. Okay, any other questions? Okay, call tonight, Tom.
Hey,
Okay.
I have a question. Hold on.
You have a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So I was working on trying to get this estate EIN, and it asks for a Social Security number or ITIN in order to get the estate EIN for the Social Security person. So
yes, you use your Social Security numbers, okay? Put it in there.
Yeah, but so the executor and the
you as the living don't have a number, okay? You're not the one that's filling that form out. You're getting that form for your fictional creation. You've got to create a fiction yourself, okay? Because everything out here in their world, okay, not only in their world, but in the world to protect the living, we have to have a fictional person out in front of us. The CEO of the bank, he is not seen. The one that's seen in the bank is the CFO or the president of the bank. But the CEO of the bank, he's out on the golf course. He's the one that's reaping all the rewards, the true rewards of the bank. And that's where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be reaping the true rewards, but you're supposed to have your fictional, your creations out in front of you. Your pawns. You're playing chess out here, okay? Game of chess. They've got their pawns, and you've got to put your pawns out there. And you've got to move your pawns to where you take them out before they take you out. Chess is a lot older than the game of Monopoly. And chess basically has been almost on every continent in the ancient times.
Hey, Patrick, do the bank accounts that we have already created out here, do they play any part within these processes?
What bank account?
Any bank account that we've already created, like, within.
They're under a Social Security number, aren't they?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You're going to have to close them down eventually.
Right.
But yes, you can utilize them right now for the time being. But see, they're still under the taxpayer, and so they're still tied into that offshore account down there in Puerto Rico.
Right. So that's why I was thinking, like, with us, being the CEO, shouldn't we be able to take control of those?
You will, by way of your foreign grantor trust and your estate EIN person, but you have to have your individual banker, and then you have to bring those accounts on shore through Philadelphia.
Okay. I got it there now. I got
you. Okay.
Thanks.
Yep.
Hey, which of the 3 EINs should we get first?
It doesn't make any difference which one you get first.
No.
Okay? You just need to have the 3. Your individual banker for your private bank. Not a private banker. It's an individual banker. Okay? And there's a big difference between individual banker and private banker. And I put those definitions up there on the site a while back. Probably about April or so. Okay? Then you need to have your estate EIN over your Social Security person, because that certificate, that Social Security card basically is a dead person. And hell, even the IRS confirmed that with me, because I sat there and argued or basically explained to one of the upper echelons down in Atlanta, Social Security or IRS office, and basically he turned around and had an estate EIN sent to me 2 weeks later. The foreign grantor trust.
Well, then it sounds like you have to call in to get the estate EIN, because
No,
you
can do all 3 of these online with the IRS.gov. Make sure you go to the IRS.gov. There are other sites out there that Google will try and get you into, because they're out there charging up to $175 to get an EIN.
So it sounds like we still need to do the I-10 to get the estate EIN, correct? The ITIN, the I-10 individual tax identification number for the executor of the estate when filling out the online SS4 form?
Yeah, basically just look at the document and read the instructions on page 2. I've got some of those highlighted in the examples on that We the People site, and Tom's also got them posted on eConcurrent.
Well, just wanted to confirm that.
Yeah. Get on one of the Skype groups and talk it over. Get on the We the People site and get it out there and post messages.
I thought I was going to have an issue getting that banker's EIN. It was just as easy as getting the foreign grantor's trust and the estate. Easy.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
they're not that hard.
Who was that just said that?
This is Malik from Washington State.
Oh, you're in Washington. And it's Emily?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, are you on the Skype group? Because I'd like to...
Oh, no, I'm not on Skype, but I am on the Yahoo group. Yeah, I could probably chat with you there.
Sure. Yeah, just because you're in Washington as well. And
okay,
probably
cool.
figure this out.
All right.
So, what... Yeah, I guess...
yeah, we could chat offline. Yeah, we could probably chat on there offline. Just, like, set up a message, and, I'll find you on there.
All right, sounds good.
Also posted a document up there to Tom about drivers. And see, you are not a driver. Okay, you're not operating for hire. But the key thing is basically, like in most cases, they have the automobile under a certificate. Also, you get rid of your driver's license and just operate with an identification card. Okay? But you're operating a vehicle that is under the state's control if you have a certificate of title to it. Then you have to do an estoppel by deed over that certificate to where now you have the higher estoppel over that certificate. And you can estop them. See, all these certificates and all these licenses, they were supposed to be out there as assurance policies. We were supposed to be the assured in the process. That means the assurance company was supposed to be paying the bills, the traffic violation, whatever, the mortgage payments, because they're using our assets as collateral. We have not been coming in and picking up the rent or setting the rent off with them for the services that we've had given to us. But no, you don't. If you don't have your car registered with the state, and you don't have a driver's license, the state has no jurisdiction over you. It's all about jurisdiction. The Amish drive their buggies up and down the road all the time. Do they have licenses on them? No. Does the state have jurisdictional control over? No. That's why I'm saying people have to start waking up and start looking a little more broadly at this stuff. Because most all the patriots out here have been too tunnel visioned in their endeavors to look beyond and have the perspective of what is really taking place. And then you have to know which Constitution you're operating under. You're operating under the Constitution for the United States government, or you're operating under the Constitution of the United States. Anything that has an of in it means it's a byproduct or a derivative of something else. The original Constitution was not a derivative of anything. It was a new creation, basically founded upon some of the documents, like the Articles of Confederation, like the Constitution of Connecticut, like the Declaration of Independence. But it was not a creation derived from another document that was already in place solely. And see, that's what the second Constitution, the 1871 takeover Constitution, was all about. It was a Constitution for the United States Fidelity and Guarantee Company Constitution. Okay. I'm done. Do you guys have any rebuttals or anything like that right now? You got about 5 minutes.
Any more questions?
Yes, I was wondering about the proof of private U.S. estate vehicle, self-insured liability. Puerto Rico, with this address of the USA Treasury, do we send a copy also to Puerto Rico?
No.
Okay.
For the insurance, no.
Okay.
You're going to send that into the Philadelphia, to the Credit and Risk Department at Philadelphia. You're going to be addressing the Treasury Department, not the Department of the Treasury, but the Treasury Department and the Alien Property Custodian. But you just have to reference that in your write-up.
Oh, okay.
They will see that when they get that in Philadelphia there at the discount window there in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Okay?
Do we have to do the estoppel before we do this one?
I would have it in place.
Okay.
I don't know whether the other guy that got his document filed out there in California is on the line or not. But if he is, please try and get a hold of Steve out there in California and explain to him how you got yours recorded in California, because Steve can't get it figured out. Now, also, I told you, if you can't get it through the recorder's office, try the clerk of the court. Put it into a court document. Get a time-stamped extra copy from the clerk of the court. If that don't work, get it notarized and go up and have it apostilled by the Secretary of State. And at that point in time, the apostille you're going to have is basically the foreign country will be Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay.
Come on, people, think. Okay, I'm done. Talk to you guys later. Okay.
Thank you very much, Patrick. This has been very informative. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.